Welcome to Activations with JJ, Economics and Prosperity on the New Earth, Episode 2. Hello, I am so happy to have you here with me today, listening to what might be to some a kind of a boring topic. Economics, I know for a lot of people, is not their favorite thing. In fact, as I was creating this, I was just naming the file econ, and I was like, oh, I remember economics in school. And it didn't resonate with me. It was not one of my favorite subjects. In fact, for many of us, I think we kind of turned away from those types of topics. And so as I create this, I thought, well, I think it's because the way economics has been set up during, my lifetime has just not been a way that resonates with me. It's not been in line with my soul. And that's why I'm creating this series. So if you're listening for the first time and you don't know, there is an episode 1 of this series. I like to do these series just because it's fun to kind of veer off of my typical energy updates. And so I create these little series throughout the podcast where I can talk about different topics. And this is the one that I felt would be appropriate and really resonate with people. In a nutshell, this series is about a lot of the things you probably already know about, which is like abundance and prosperity and manifesting. But it's also about just energy exchange and how it works. Universal laws and principles are what I'm setting the intention to bring through. The funny thing is that I'm definitely not an expert on this. So I'm using my channeling skills to bring through whatever we need. And I will be learning right along with you. I am 100% a student to many of the things that I will be bringing through. In fact, it was really funny because as I prepared for this recording, I kind of just tried to sit and meditate for a little bit because I knew there were different pieces of information that I needed to bring through. And they came. It was funny because Spirit really just used some experiences I've had in my life recently to paint this picture for what I needed to teach on this particular episode. So I'm really excited to have you here, and I just want to make sure that you take a moment, if you haven't already, to like and subscribe the video. If you're on the podcast and you have a second to hop over to my YouTube channel and kind of give me some love there, it does help this message get out to more people. So I'm really excited for what we're going to bring through today, and I just want to take a second and have everybody get into just a mode and an energy of receiving. And while you do that, I am going to tell a story, something that happened to me this week. And I knew it wasn't by mistake. I knew that there was a lesson in it. Every time something happens that seems a little weird and a little off, I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to learn from this? And what am I supposed to learn and then share with all of my listeners? Because half the time, that's exactly what happens. So this week was really kind of odd for me. There was some massive energy going on this week. And this week that I'm talking about when I'm recording this is like the second week in August 2020. Or sorry, not the second week in August, the second week in October 2021. So if you're listening to this like right after I publish it, you will know what I'm talking about. If you're listening to it a long time after, you may not realize or remember, but it's intense. I do follow a woman who is, I think it's a girl in the universe on Instagram. And she tracks like the Schumann resonance and all the solar activity that's happening. And there are some big time energies coming through. So I've been feeling it. It's been weird, but cool. And so that being said, I knew that there was some wacky energy going on. And I just had some really interesting things happen because I do have a business that you could consider a quote unquote spiritual business. Although I consider every business a spiritual business, there's always an energy behind everything we do. Mine is that in addition to doing this podcast and the YouTube channel, I actually do sessions, one-on-one sessions with people. And so I just started that a few months ago. And ever since I started, I've been using it as a way to experiment with manifesting. So I don't know how many of you actually have a business or if you've also experimented with manifesting, but essentially what I'll do is I'll just set like a goal for how many, sort of create spiritually before it happens and create energetically before it happens physically, what I want that week to look like how many sessions I want to have. And ever since I've started, it's actually happened. I've had the number of sessions that I've set the intention to have. And I haven't really actually tried that hard. That's something I'm going to talk about here in a second, but I really haven't tried that hard. It has come to me. So that is a hint to something we're going to talk about in a second, other than this story. So what happened is this week there was like a lot of just lull in people reaching out to me. And I thought that was so weird. I was like, it's been really consistent. My manifesting, has happened as far as me putting out the energy and knowing that I'll attract the people who need to do sessions with me. And so the end of this week came along and I was doing something with my website, and I realized that my website form was not connected to my most up-to-date email. And I was like, oh, shoot, I can't believe that this was going to my old email. And this has only been like over the last maybe 2 weeks that it has affected anything. But I went to log into my old email and I was like, oh, there's the lull. All the sessions and requests for sessions were sitting right there in that email. So I'm very sorry if you were one of the ones that was trying to reach out to me through my email contact, because you'll notice I just definitely delayed in replying to you. And that's because I was using that old email and I was like, what the heck? Why did this happen? I can't believe that I missed that little detail of not changing my email address on the form to my most current email. And there's all the sessions that were, I was manifesting. They were just sitting there waiting for me to connect to the right, avenue. And so I kind of sat with that and I kind of got a little flustered. I was a little bit like frustrated. I was like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad. There's all these people, that have reached out to me and I've been delaying in replying to them and I haven't been able to serve them the way that I want to. And I kind of went in that flustered mode. I replied to all those emails and then I went to bed. Well, as I was laying in bed this morning, so this is the night before, or this happened last night. As I was lying in bed this morning, all of a sudden Spirit was like, I'm ready to teach you about what happened. And I'm like, oh, okay. So this has to do with your economics and prosperity podcast that you're about to record. And so I was all ears and I just kind of listened and was taught. Sometimes when we are manifesting, we need to open up all the avenues we possibly can to receive that, because they're not always going to come in the way we think they're going to come. So we need to provide the universe several channels in which to send us the things that we're asking for. Okay? In my case, it was obviously just a different email address, and they were coming through my website. So I have that on my website. This is like basic marketing, right? I mean, I'm not telling you anything that anybody that's 3D wouldn't tell you. But the thing that I want to bring out to you is why it was brought to my attention and how it was brought to my attention in the first place. Because obviously we all know that was happening, but I wasn't tuning into it. So for some reason, I was just forgetting about that website form not being connected to my email. Why? Well, I kind of think that I got a little bit lazy and I wasn't tuning into that flow. Somehow I was energetically blocking it. Otherwise I would have seen that email, right? Like if you think about it from an energetic perspective, I was not resonating at the same vibration that all those messages sitting there waiting for me were resonating. And I don't know why 100%. Maybe it was just to teach you this lesson, right? But the way that it was brought to my awareness is that I was working on my website and it occurred to me that I hadn't seen anybody contact me through the website, which was weird because I'd had lots and lots of views. My website statistics were saying, you've had over 1,000 people looking at the site. And I thought, well, why isn't anybody filling out this little form? It's kind of right on the front page. And I thought, well, maybe they're not contacting me that way. Maybe people don't like that. Oh no, that's not what happened. That's just because it was connected to the email that I didn't ever check. So anyway, that I think is a lesson for us. Let's break it down really quickly energetically. And that is, are you tuning in? Well, first of all, are you creating all the channels, all the possible channels that people could be offering you connection and abundance through prosperity. And it's actually not even people, the universe, okay? The universe. Are you creating all the avenues, all the possible avenues that will work for you for the universe to be sending you abundance? That's the bottom line. Take a look at it. Sit and listen. That's what I had to do. I was sitting and listening finally, and I heard the little knock on the door, like, are you checking on that email address? Oh, I forgot about that. Okay, so that's where we're at, right, with that one. All right, the second thing that I want to talk about today is related to a movie I was watching last night, because I told you every time there's always something the Spirit teaches me through things I watch, experiences I have. And the movie I was watching was Karate Kid. It's the new Karate Kid. And in the movie, the master, who's Jackie Chan, takes the little boy up to a mountain temple in China where people are practicing like Kung Fu, and I think they're practicing like Tai Chi, things like that. And there is a lady in one of the clips who is sort of working with a cobra snake, and she's doing some like Tai Chi type stuff, and the snake is sort of waving around, just kind of like a snake charmer is basically the way I'll describe it. And the little boy said to the master, "That is so cool. She was copying the snake and she was imitating all of its moves." And the master says, obviously, "No, the snake was imitating her moves. It was the other way around and you don't realize it. She had an ability to get the snake to come to her vibration." So here's the lesson, because I'm sure you're wondering what in the world this has to do with economics and prosperity. This one has to do with our relationship with prosperity. And that is that I really feel that so many of the times we are trying to work for the money and for the prosperity rather than to get it to work for us. Just like the snake, if we see the money and the abundance as the cobra, we are the ones who are in control and need to get it to follow our sort of, not commands, but our energies, right? We bring it into our energetic space. We don't try to go into its energetic space. We are the creators. We are no longer the slaves to the money. We are the masters. That's duality, which I don't believe in, but there's some ways that works. Okay, we're still halfway. We have one foot in the duality still a little bit, so we're kind of living in that still. But if you're looking at it from a non-dualistic perspective, you are the money, right? You are one with that abundance. I'm saying money because that's just easiest for me to say. But prosperity can come in so many different forms. It can come in, so many shapes. Just kind of remember that. That's an overarching theme that I want you to remember as I do these episodes. So that was just kind of one lesson or a second lesson that was taught to me. And again, it's that idea of chasing after something too. So like you see a lot of people that are chasing after things rather than drawing it to themselves. How can you begin to draw things to yourself instead of chasing after them? Whether it be in your personal life or if you own a business, if it's in your business. I think being still and going into our divine feminine is super important. One of the lessons about that clip with the snake charmer is she was a woman. And so it also came to me, it's the divine feminine. It's the divine feminine. There's another person that I've been following on Instagram. And so much of what I tell you is like it's a little 3D. Like I'm applying all this stuff around me to the economics and prosperity on the new earth. But I do follow somebody on Instagram who I think is really tapping into the economics and prosperity on the new earth. And that is Chalene Johnson. The funny thing is if you know who she is, she was a fitness instructor, very popular, well-known personality. She has a lot of followers right now. And she does have like some kind of business thing that she promotes, like business tips and courses and things. I've actually never taken her business courses, but I do watch her content. There are very few people that are business-minded that I follow, and she's one of them. And she talks about her personal life on her account too, so you're going to see all kinds of things on her account. But I do feel she's embodying the divine feminine when it comes to business, because she talks a lot about not just working like crazy and thinking you just have to be at it all the time and spending all your time on your business. And she talks about rest and balance and spending time with family and all these things. And there was a recent post that she made, and so this was kind of the beginning of October 2021, where she talked about that exact thing. She basically called out all the people who think, you have to work so hard and you have to put in all these hours. And she's like, no, you don't. You don't have to do that. You have to figure out what clicks and what works for you. So I thought that was really fascinating. I actually know that that's probably part of her course, because she was kind of trying to get people to sign up for the course. And I would be interested in taking that at some point just to see. But the vibe that I got was totally a divine feminine approach to business. More than a divine feminine, it's like a balance between divine feminine and divine masculine. We're so much in the divine, or in masculinity in the business world on the planet. I mean, I think we're shifting, but we have been over the last several hundred years, 1,000 years, that we forget, like, just shifting a little bit to the middle, to more of a balance between divine feminine and divine masculine is all we have to do to really step into what we need to do for the new earth. And that's what we're going to have happen, regardless of whether or not we try that hard. As we step into the energy and do all the upgrades and activations just energetically, these things are just going to happen. I'm just bringing your attention to them. You're going to see it. You're going to see synchronicities after you listen to this. You're going to start following people on Instagram, on social media. You're going to learn about business opportunities. Things are just going to come to you because you're tapping into this energy. So speaking of tapping into energy, there is one last thing that I want to end with. And I haven't actually incorporated that into this series yet. I haven't typically incorporated these kinds of things into a series like this, but I really felt it was appropriate for this one. And that is, I'm going to do a short prosperity activation. It's more of a connection with prosperity, a little meditation for us, because I felt like so many of us need to learn what it feels like to connect with the energy of prosperity, as if it were a living and breathing thing. So that's the intention I'm going to set. And it's going to be just a short guided meditation. I'm going to play this little music behind here. So I just want you to open, soften, and relax your body. And we're going to focus on a river of energy flowing around us. Okay, you're going to see this in your mind's eye. And the color we're going to focus on is gold, a golden river flowing around you. And I want you to notice that this is a meandering river. This is almost like a snake, curves. It's not a forceful, straight flow. It's just winding its way around in and through the energy that surrounds you. And the speed at which it is flowing is not very fast. And I want you in your mind's eye to step into that flow. So imagine yourself stepping into that flow, almost becoming one with that flow. And now you see that flow as you're flowing in it, but also observing it, is all around you. And it has branches that go out across the entire planet. It is so large that it encompasses and encircles all the earth. And thinking about maybe what you've been taught about prosperity and how there's kind of this mentality that there's not enough for everyone. It's impossible. There always have to be rich and poor. You look at this flow, this golden river, and you completely reject that idea because you see there is more than enough. for everyone on this planet to experience prosperity. And if nothing else hits home for you, it's that idea. There is enough. And you travel with this flow, this golden river, going down whichever branches you desire. All the different veins which are encircling and encompassing the earth, allowing you to go wherever you want to in this flow of prosperity. And then you see, as you begin to get ready to step out of the flow, that the flow is not only outside of you, but it's also inside of you. You are connected to it. Before you didn't notice this, but now you do. You are a natural part of the path of this flow, of the path of this river. It flows in and through you in a constant stream. And you are in control of the volume of the stream, of how much you allow in. Almost as if there were a valve that you can open and close. And I want you to get comfortable with recognizing where that valve is. Maybe it's in your heart chakra, maybe it's in a different space, maybe it's your root chakra. You can intuit that. And when you've noticed, I want you to open that flow to whatever you are comfortable with at this time. And know that you can go back to it whenever you please to adjust the flow. Taking a deep breath as we begin to come back to our bodies and open our eyes. I want you to just integrate that energy for a moment longer. And then become fully aware of where you're at as we close the meditation. As I finish out here today, I just want to thank you for co-creating, for being here to listen, and to being willing to step into this energy, this prosperity and economics of the new earth. It's a beautiful thing, and we're doing it together. As always, the divinity within me honors the divinity within you. Namaste.